Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can create table. Let's say you can use a loop, right? Or you can manually, like this, you can manually create a two-dimensional array with a list of lists, right? Let's take a look at this code. This is like one way you can create a two-dimensional array, right? So I mean, basically this is the same code, right? This is the same as this one, right? I just used the variable name a little. I changed the variable name a little bit because somehow I don't like this code because ROWS. This is a capital. I mean, this is a constant, right? So they use all capital letters, but this one is different from this. So I know, so I'll just I just change, I don't really like this variable name, so um, it can be confusing, right? So instead, basically the same thing, the same code, I just changed the variable name. So instead I use this sample code. So initially what? Initially table is a 0, so there's nothing. The table is pointing to a list with no element. And then how many rows? So you want to create 5 rows and 20 columns, right? So basically at the end, the table is going to be like, the table is going to be really pointing to the list, right? And then it has, 10 columns, 10 elements, and then you're going to have another list, 10 of them. And then so basically how many of them? You're going to have a 5 list with 10 elements, right? This table will contains 5 lists, and each list will have 10 of them, 10 elements, right? So that's the goal. And then you want to create this two-dimensional array, and then each array is filled with what? 0. Right? It's filled with a 0. Okay. Now, the row it's 5, right? So this is 5, then means range function will return what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So when I is a 0, so when I is equal to 0, right? When I is equal to 0, it will create a list with what? 20 elements. And it's 20 zeros basically, because it's 20, right? So basically this will create a list with the 20 zeros, right? And then you're going to append, so this is R, right? And then you're going to append this list to the table. So when I is equal to 0, what happens is there's a table, it's like this, right? And then inside this list, there will be only one list. This is like a 20, right? And when I, right? When I is equal to 1, basically you have, it will create another row, and then it's going to be appended to the tail of the table. So it's going to be 20, and then you're going to have another one, right? So basically, this is the table. Initially, start with empty, right? When I is equal to 1, you have 2 elements, and each element is a list, right? And each element also has 20 zeros. When I is equal to 2, the table is going to look like, right, 0, and then 0, right? So this is what the table looks like. Just keep going until I becomes 4, right? So this is like one way. So one way you can create this is one way you can create a list. I mean the two-dimensional array. Another way is obviously it's you can manually, right? So for example, you can manually type in all the elements like this. For example, this is a count, so you can manually. So let's just play with the counts. Let's say instead of table, assuming that we have what? Two-dimensional array called count. So let's just copy, and then in the Python new file, then I'm going to paste, right? Assuming that I have a count, this is two-dimensional array, right? Let's just try to print this guy. So this is what basically this is what this is like a row 1, row 0, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So this is row 1, and this is what column 1, right? So this is column 0, column 1, column 2. So basically, if you want to print this, you have to say print counts, the variable name, and then what? The first row, which is 0, and then the second column, right? This is second column, right? So this is like 1, because it's always starting with a 0. So 0, 1, 2, right? Let's run this. I'm going to save it. Yes, I'm going to save it. Say document. Right. Python is okay. Teaching Python and the code. This is like example, two-dimensional example 1. Okay, so it prints 3, right? If you want to print, let's say, this one, right? That means what? 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So print counts 5, right? And then this is what? Oops. And then this is what? This is first column. So that means 0, index 0, right? Okay. So let's run this. Yeah, 3, 3, right? Okay, now if you want to print all the elements, there's a couple of ways. You can say print counts. So if I run this, basically it prints the counts, right? Or, I mean, if he wants to, let's say, print each element one by one. So basically what you can do is what? Counts 0, 0, right? You know what, I'll just make a copy. Copy, and then paste. Okay. So basically, if you want to one element, I mean each element like one by one, let's say 0, 3, 0, and 0, 0, 1, and etc. So since it has what 24 elements, you can use 24 print statement. So starting from the 0, 0, and then I'm going to say 0, 0 and 1, which is 0, 0 and 0, 1, and what? 0, 2. So basically you can create 24 print statement. Right? Or you can use what? Guess what? You can use nested loop. So I'm gonna first nested loop, right? So let's see. So we have what? This is constant variable. So we have how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? How many columns? C, O, L. And then 3 columns, right? So 4 rows in range. Let's say row number of rows. So rows num. Then I'll say column number. So column num, right? Okay. Now the row in range. So this is range. What rows num, right? And then for column in range, what? Column num. And then I'll also use print statement, print the counts, row, and then what? Column, right? Okay. So you can now use nested for loop. So let's just test if this can print all the elements. Oops, range, oops. Yep, range. Okay, so let's just run. Yep, so it prints, for example, 0, 3, 0, so which is this one, 0, 3, 0. And next one is 0, 0, 1, right? So which is 0, 0, 1. Yes. So this is like a one way. I mean, this is instead of printing using 24 print statement, you can, if you use a nested loop, you can easily print all the elements like one by one, right? In the counts. Okay.